Okay, so in this lecture, we'll be talking about different models of studying gene flow, and there's a very good reference material that I've taken from EPG Pathshala, which has consolidated different models altogether using suitable examples and suitable diagrams. It's a very good reference material for this topic. Now there are 4 different models of studying gene flow, but before we get to the models, we must first know what are these what is the basic understanding of the gene flow per se. What do you understand by gene flow? Why is it important to study gene flow, and what is its relevance, especially when we are talking about population genetics or evolutionary genetics, so to say. What is its relevance? Why, with respect to other evolutionary forces, it has a stronger role in disturbing or maintaining or bringing up the genetic composition of a population, to differentiation or to similarities. So what exactly is this concept? Let us first clarify that part. Now, so far we have studied about mutation, genetic drift, again bottleneck effect, founder effect, natural selection, many different forms of evolutionary forces, but altogether in every form, every sort of force, we were trying to bring out the changes or the constitution at the genetic level, at the level of frequencies of the allele or of the genotype, right? So how those frequencies are kept constant, how those frequencies are maintained throughout generations. When we talked about Hardy-Weinberg principle also, we're trying to put that idea into picture that these frequencies remain at equilibrium, they remain constant if no external forces are being put up on a given population at a given point of time. So in population genetics, these evolutionary processes, they means studying the process of changes in the allele frequencies within a population in the given time and space. So we generally study these models also with respect to 2 ways. First is in a way deriving at the mathematical approximation of what is the population structure, what are the mating patterns, how is the interaction, interaction as in at the level of biological level, also at the level of cultural interactions. So anyways, interactions and the mating patterns. And the other model basically talks about the processes of mutation and recombination. Okay, so there are different models of approaching of studying these evolutionary forces, and when we're talking about very hypothetical, very constant form of allele frequencies being maintained throughout generations, where we attribute to it as Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium, it gives us a baseline picture of what constant variables or what constant figures or constant frequencies would look like. And with respect to this baseline, we are studying the deviations, right? So that is very important. In contemporary times, it is very hard to find a Hardy-Weinberg or a Mendelian population, so to say, because at some point or the other there is one or at least one force, at least one form of evolutionary forces is being acting upon, right? So it is very difficult to find a pure form of a very Mendelian sort of population existing today. So therefore, having a baseline understanding is also very important to study the deviations, and that is the the principle or the mathematical way of approaching towards Hardy-Weinberg and studying the contemporary populations, right? So in real conditions, one or more of these influences, these different evolutionary forces, are typically present. So the idea behind using this equilibrium is because it gives us an ideal condition against which we can analyze the effects of these factors or the forces. So one of the factors that we are going to discuss is about the gene flow, or gene flow is, in a simplified way we have to talk, it predicts or it depicts how the process of migration in the population happens and how it affects the allele frequencies. Okay, so with respect to migration, now it could be either the inflow, it could be either the outflow. So both the ways migration happens. Because of migration, how the allele frequencies of, say, population A, B, how is it affected if there is an inflow of genes of alleles from of population A to B, and how is the frequency of population A being affected when there is an inflow from population B to A? How is the population gene pool of the population B is affected when there is outflow from population B, right? So anyways, there is a form of migration being happening, and because of that there is an effect over the allele frequency or the genotypic frequencies, or at the broader picture, the gene pool of the population is being affected. So this is in a way leading to an evolutionary process which is called as gene flow, because it's either inflowing, it's either outflowing. So gene flow is the mechanism, or a part of migratory event which affects the gene pool of the population. It either introduces the new alleles, and it either removes a section of allele frequency or section of genotype from the population. So it could be any way. Now it could also be because of a natural event. Okay, so when we talk about the bottleneck effect, that event which causes the neck of the bottle, creating a sort of analogy with an event, evolutionary event. So now this event could be either man created, human induced, or it could be environmentally generated. So for example, it could be a pandemic like situation where randomly, because of a certain genotype, or because of your immunity, or because of n number of factors, a specific section, randomly a section of a population is being wiped out. It could be either environmental reason, for example any form of natural hazard, a section of a given geographical location is being wiped out because of any natural hazard. Okay, be it cyclone, be it in any form of disaster related event. So because of that event, as an outcome, we can see certain alleles from the original, the parent population, is being wiped out. Okay, certain population would also be moving out from that particular geography just to survive. Okay, to avoid a disaster related event, probably people from the coastal area would have moved to a different location. So altogether, that gene pool, a part of the original gene pool, not the representation but the part of that gene pool, has moved to a new geographical location, and therefore there has been a flow of genes. Getting the idea? So this gene flow, or the flow of genes from one gene pool to the other, or forming a new gene pool, probably generally it is with respect to the flow from one gene pool to the other. It is not with respect to the founder population. But again, if you're talking with respect to founder also brings along, there are concepts of hybrid founders, so that also could be one way of looking at it. But gene flow is basically from one population to the other. So it has major effects on the population. Firstly, it introduces new alleles to the population, right? Of course, it is going to introduce new alleles because the original gene pool is now having the outsiders. So that new component of the alleles are going to be the representation of the gene pool of the population, right? So therefore it is going to introduce new alleles, and based on the spread of these new alleles, now let's say there is inflow from population A to B by a chance event. B and C are sort of distantly located populations, but they are undergoing interbreeding. So there could be a movement of genes from B to C as well, and C to B as well, although they have maintained a constant gene pool after observing interbreeding for, like, say, many generations. But now, because of inflow from A, this entire gene pool is going to have a new allele A in the gene pool. So there is a spread because of B, because of A, which gave its new alleles to B, and B being at a constant interchange with C because of their mating pattern. There is a new allele which is being spread to population C as well. Fine. So there is a gene flow which spread these alleles to other populations. And therefore, similar to any other force, any other evolutionary force, gene flow is also acting as a source of creating genetic variations, right? So in C, now there is a new component being added, so therefore it is also leading to a sort of genetic differentiation for the recipient population. And ultimately it is going to affect the allele frequency, so therefore it also becomes one of the factor disturbing the Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium as a force being acting upon on the population, which affects the allele frequencies of the population. So what is the definition for gene flow? It is defined as an introduction of the genetic material of species from one population to a different population by the changing of gene pool composition of the receiving population, right? So the gene has flown from A to B, and B has affected the gene pool of C as well. So gene has flown from A to C. It introduces new alleles to the population which further leads to increased variability, increased differentiation, and new combination of traits. So when we are having genotypic variation, we are having genetic differentiation. It is expressed in terms of their phenotypic traits, phenotypic characters. So therefore there will be a different form of combination of different traits being coming up. The most important way by which gene flow occurs is through migration. Now migration is understood as a movement from one occupied area to the other, right? So from one geographical location to another, or one gene pool to another, is how you study the migration being occurring, and along with the migration, genes flow. To observe the gene flow directly, we not only monitor the movement of migrants but also their reproductive success, because it is not just with respect to the movement of genes, it has also to be passed and sustained in the population, in the gene pool, for generations. So we have also to ensure that it is not a reproductive isolate that we are sharing our gene, that the gene is flowing to. It should not be a terminal end. It should not be an isolate, reproductive isolate, where there is less chances of it being passed to the next generation. So we have also to ensure that along with the movement of genes, it's also showing reproductive success, that gene pool has a significant reproductive success. Fine. So these two parameters become very important when we are putting the sure shot of having a gene being introduced to a new population and it being sustaining in the population.